Akbar, Allahu 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 Akbar. Ashhadu alla ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu alla ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu alla ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu alla ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu alla ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Mothers of the human race, mothers of human beings. Yes, I'm going to pick one to interpret one very special ayah regarding the 11th century's academia, the world of academia, as well as in the 11th centuries. A couple of times I did mention the word, the curriculum on which we saw that it was a curriculum which held every one of you and your integrities and your beauty and whatever into a septic tank. I don't know whether you understand the language. Every one of you, people who went to Harvard University or Yale University, Cambridge and Oxford, whichever university you went to on this planet under the 11th century, that's before 2026, that those qualifications that you acquired have always been used as a way, in one way or the other, to make you that one of your foot is always in the grave. And that part of your foot which is in the grave is that part which makes you that the largest chunk of your brain is in a sewage tank. A stagnant, when we say sewage tank, that's when you are in a stagnant, what we call a stagnant, unconscious state of mind. When we say a stagnant, unconscious state of mind, that's when you think of your academic qualifications as the only way you are kind of that gives you what you call life. No, in most cases, I would put it in this kind of line so that you see where you stand as academics or academia fraternities. In academy, you have what you call professors. You have lecturers, you have doctors, you have so many people who have doctorates in this and that. However, if those doctorates and whatever are not in line with whole divine interpretation of laws, prescription, and electives of the guidance of the Holy Quran, they deem to be a failure. That's when we say the curriculum which failed the entire human race, because it was based on what men had conjectured. It wasn't based on what Allah has prescribed. When you take what you call lust is when you for instance, there's some men, I love alcohol. Yeah? That's when you put your lust and your desire in what ahead of what is a provision holy directive. Yet a holy provision directive or interpretation of the beautiful region says Mother Nature has his own celestial obligation, as well as the rest of the creation have their celestial obligation, which commands and determines that if you become an alcoholic, the end result is that you as an individual or you as a community, you will suffer very deadly adverse effects of what you took on as your way of life, other than what that Allah has prescribed as the holy divine laws or directives or commandments, how to live in your societies. That way, we saw that there was First World War. That is a part of academia that thought that if we manufacture weapons, we accumulate a lot of weapons on Mother Planet Earth, maybe we can, not knowing that a part of their qualification to manufacture weapons was when one of their folk was in their grave, and on top of that, they were in a state of sewage, in a septic tank, rotting and septic tank, decaying and rotting and boiling. Boiling qualification that tells you boil this, burn this, boil this, colon this. When you are in an unconscious state of mind in a septic tank, everything that you, whatever, kind of makes sense, but does not kind of live, it does not echo to the entire rest of the universe. Because the rest of the universe, its origin and its celestial obligation is pure, clean Islam. Do you get my point, my mothers? That's when I go back to what we call Magna Carta, as well as the Magna Carta and the obligation to every child and every citizen on this planet to acquire pure, clean Islam interpretations and ayahs in pure truth, not conjectured desires, lusts, to be, which made your lives, many of you have very real proof and evidence of the atrocities and the global warming thing. The global warming thing is to warn you that, man, what kind of life do you want on this planet? Do you want to stay in the offices and say, oh, we have little time to plant trees? Yes, if you do, you won't sit in your offices comfortably. Why? Because every electrical gravity element can find you wherever you are in the air, through the air you breathe. The only way you can add your celestial obligation to what is a celestial obligation is a commandment. It's a celestial obligation, but it's a commandment that you should plant trees in order to contribute your celestial obligation to future generations, that they don't have to live under what you men conjectured, not knowing that you are in sewage. You are in a sewage, dirty, desired, conjectured lifestyle of gangs, whereby whatever you looked at, you say, oh, we can fight disease by creating more disease. Can you really? Do you know what disease is? Do you know what disease is? I'll tell you before I conclude this interpretation that my mother's disease was given a higher and a longer lifespan than that of human beings. Everyone who has ever stepped on this planet, in one way or the other, before they depart, they have to say assalam to disease so that they can head out to the other world. That means that disease pulls or is a part of what makes you breathe your last breath. And then that, sometimes it does it in a good way. Sometimes it does it in a way that Allah says, punish those men who say they are fighting, they are researching on this and that, they are cloning this and that. In that sense, a part of your curriculum, the largest portion of it is weapons or destruction. You can discard it because you don't have to be a professor to plant a tree. You don't have to be a professor. You don't have to have a doctorate to plant a tree of vegetables. My mothers, do I make sense to you that you don't have to be a professor to plant a tree? You don't have to be to have any doctorate to plant vegetables or trees. If it does make sense to you, then wake up. The obligation, the celestial obligation for you mothers to prepare breakfast and this and that for your children, yes, it's the same celestial obligation which tells you, remember to plant trees after your breakfast or whenever you go out, to remind your children that it's indeed beautiful to look at food and to have food available whenever you require it because you planted it yourself. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Ahad Akbar, Ahad Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Ahad, Assalam Akbar. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My mothers, have a very, very beautiful day and look forward to make sure that you do take offices in order to pull out men who are, so that they can clean what they scattered here and there as weapons. Yes, that is what you have to do as soon as you get the UN assembly only occupied by women, any government parliament position occupied by women. Let's give it a try if we can, and that way maybe 100 years and see what happens. I'll say Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Assalam Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar.